Hey Gadget Groupies, following up on a video I published last week. It was a little bit more political in tone. I think there are going to be a few more of those videos on this channel over the coming months and years. The thesis of that video was, if a corporation can be considered a person legally, then should a company or could a company engage in an act of civil disobedience? The premise at play, let's say politicians really do get rid of net neutrality. In protest, could a company like Netflix or Google or Hulu or any other type of web solution purposely degrade the quality of their content in Washington, D.C. to send a protest message to those politicians? It'd piss off a lot of people, but it would make a lot of headlines. This is what no net neutrality looks like. For whatever reason we decide, we can purposely degrade your service or charge you more for the same stuff. Considering the tone of the video and that I don't tend to talk politics on this channel very much, I was actually surprised by the response this video got. I got a number of really cool comments that I want to read through now. A comment from Rena Chan: "Not only I think they should, but a company pulls a protest action like that will win a bit of my respect. He lives in the Netherlands, and they have one of the strongest laws protecting net neutrality in Europe, and the watchdog is proactive. Last year, T-Mobile launched an all-you-can-stream service that allowed music stream without counting on the data package that the client had contracted. This didn't last long, and they were forced to either kill this service or open an unlimited plan without restrictions, and that's what they did." Things like T-Mobile's Binge On service did kind of step on the tenets of net neutrality. T-Mobile was picking which services would and would not count against your mobile data. They were essentially picking winners and losers. Definitely a consumer-friendly policy, but not very net neutrality friendly. From Drew Lakebrink: "No, Netflix should not violate net neutrality and throttle connection speeds to anyone no matter what. Not only is it a bad business move to throttle the speed to an entire city, it's punishing people who don't deserve it. Why punish the public for what the government is doing?" And that brought up a really interesting secondary question, which I posted on Twitter, is, if net neutrality crumbles, does any company really have an obligation to continue doing business under the ideal of net neutrality? From Fat Produce: "That would be the ultimate poetic justice if corporations like Netflix exercised their rights as individuals to defy these policies, especially when the people making these policies are some of the strongest advocates for Citizens United." Yuki brings up an interesting point. "I think it's not a very smart idea because the average user would not care. They would just use another service. Maybe putting a big banner on the page at login or even at all times would be effective, but to degrade service performance to make a political statement would only make the mass uninformed or uninterested just go to another service or just go back to illegal methods. I don't know anyone that could bear to deal with buffering for no good reason besides the company trying to make a political statement. You also have the issue of legality. That being, are they legally allowed to target and degrade the performance of an area in their terms of service?" Now, what's fascinating about that is Netflix would be the company to decide what their terms of service are. And if net neutrality were to crumble, they could adjust their terms of service, because when you sign into Netflix, you agree to allow them that flexibility. There were a number of comments like Yuki's really kind of touching on that personal experience. We all hate it when a service buffers. I think Netflix actually has leverage in this conversation to say, hey, look, we turn people who stream illegally into paying customers. Hollywood would prefer people actually give money for this content as opposed to getting it for free. I don't know what your experiences with politicians have been like, but from what I've seen, politicians tend to respond to issues involving money. Which user All Cars United agrees with me on that last point. Bottom line is always money. Netflix could definitely spark something. The user JK Tech was also in opposition to this concept. "No, that's a very bad idea. I would just quit the service, and even if they got what I wanted to happen in Congress, I still wouldn't mind get the service again because they throttled it in the first place." A few other comments on this video following in that same thread, that it would be a betrayal of the relationship between the company and the consumer. And Netflix is a little different than, say, the relationship between a consumer and a carrier or a consumer and an ISP. We really, really like services like Netflix, but they're not mission critical like the actual pipes we use to connect to the internet. And from Ian Hoswell: "Mr. Bagnell, should I grab the Idol 4S as an upgrade from my Nexus 5X? Dude, off topic, man. Try and stay on point. One interesting point about net neutrality from Blake Truax: "That's really an interesting conundrum. I personally would love to see them take some sort of action, and hopefully other services would follow to serve those long-term goals. I can wish and want faster internet access all day, but at the end of the day, my family of 5 is stuck with 18 megabit per second down and 1.6 megabit per second upload speeds from AT&T Uverse, which is the same speeds we've been stuck with for the past 7 years. I think we'd all agree that more competition in an arena is better, And actually, regulation seems to foster healthier competition than unregulated markets where companies really don't have any incentive to truly compete against each other. And capping that point from Kellen McKenzie, they'll need that bandwidth once Trump signs military contracts with Cyberdyne as Skynet learns at a geometric rate. This turned into a really fascinating topic as I was thinking about it. The short-term ramifications of pissing some people off, the long-term ramifications of waging a successful protest. And I want to thank all the people who contributed to that discussion, both for the idea and against it. It was maybe one of the most civil discussions I've had on the internet, especially in recent memory when we're sort of dealing with tech and politics. We'll definitely be revisiting some of these ideas in future videos. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more rambling, vloggy tech videos like these. Go catch me over at pocketnow.com, the Pocket Now YouTube channel, for all of my smartphone, tablet, and wearable coverage. We've got some really cool stuff, MWCs coming up, some really exciting phones on the horizon. I hope you'll go check that out. Below this video, there's some links on how you can support production here, and catch me on social media, some Gadget Guy on Twitter and Instagram, and I will catch you all on the next video.